Okay, everyone, welcome back. It's a little after 2. It's AT&T time says it's 2:03, and let's begin the meeting. Um, we're almost there. This is the third and final LSTA webinar on submitting a successful grant application. And in case we've not met, or in case anyone new is joining us today, I'm Donna Alexander, LSTA Coordinator for Nevada State Library, Archives, and Public Records. And my contact information, as well as my team's information, will appear at the end of the slideshow. Today's agenda will focus on grants, implementation, and budget. And I appreciate you taking the time to walk through the slides with me. And remember, this presentation will be on our YouTube channel by the end of the week. And I'll be checking the chat box as we go. So feel free to send questions in during the session or anytime after. Or if you just want to speak up so everyone can hear you, hopefully I'll I'll be reading the questions as you type them in. But if you want to ask them over the phone, fine. Hopefully I'll know the answer right away. So here's today's agenda. We'll do a quick review of the information from the two previous presentations and cover the guidelines for implementation, budget, application review process, how to submit the application, and again, field questions along the way. First, LSTA review. LSTA is a federal grants program that's state-based and administered by the IMLS, our friends at Institute for Museum and Library Services. The plan is driven by the 5-year plan, the strategic plan, and the money is funded annually by Congress. IMLS allocates the grant money to each state based on population. And again, ours, the Nevada plan, is driven by our LSTA strategic and our 5-year plan. The grant training slide covers basically, the webinars 1 and 2, where we gave guidelines on need, selecting target audience through different demographic resources like our state data center, good old nvdemography.org, and the U.S. Census Bureau, among others. And again, the previous 2 webinars are archived on our website, so you can go back and review that information anytime you need to. Also, at the end of, since this is the third and final, please be sure to go to our website and fill out the webinar certification that says, yes, you either attended live, tuned in live, or went back and read the slideshow, so you have all the information and the toolkit, so you'll be ready to start your grant. We've been over the LSTA is federally funded. We're in the grant cycle now. So your proposals have been submitted and approved. So now it's on to creating the actual application. And in case you already downloaded it, please go back to our website because some of the dates have changed. The application is now due by 5 p.m. on November 21st, to me either as an email like a placeholder, but the hard copy original fillable PDF has to be postmarked no later than November 21st. And please have the project director or the library director, who could be one and the same, sign it in blue ink so that we can tell it's the original. Once your application is received, my team will do an internal review by November 28th. It's a short window for us, so we're just going to immerse ourselves in it and get it done. But if we have any questions or need clarifications, we'll communicate feedback with you, and then you have until 5 p.m. December 12th to deliver the revised, completed packet to me with the expectation that the clarifications or the changes have been addressed so the application can move forward. On December 21st, the State Council on Libraries and Literacy, hereafter known as the Council, will receive your applications for final review and prioritization. Then they get a month to do the review. And on January 25th and 26th, which I believe were a Wednesday and a Thursday, we all meet. All meaning the council, my team here, and you invited applicants. This is where you'll address how you answered the feedback, kind of like justifying your need, or as we'd say back in the day, defending your dissertation. So based on the council's recommendations, the final decision about granting the award will be made by Jeff Kintop, the library administrator, and programs. Sorry, am I getting too much feedback? Okay. Well, Jeff reviews because he's the actual funding authority here, and programs should move forward based on the council's recommendations. Those interviews will be with Jeff, the council, and my team, either in person here at one of the facilities here at State Library or by telecom or video conference. So, one more time, here's the timeline. Applications have to be emailed no later than 5 p.m. November 21st to me, and the original signed in blue ink must be postmarked by November 21st. My team will review the applications by November 28th and communicate with you if any clarifications or questions arise. By December 12th, your updated, improved application is due back to me and then will be sent on to council. They have a month, and on January 25th and 26th, my team, the council, Jeff, and invited applicants will meet, and Jeff will decide which grants will be funded. This is kind of like the why of these webinars. We want you to have the toolkit to present a strong grant worthy of being funded. Okay, so at this point, are there any questions, or will my chat box be lonely? Christina from Mineral says, asks, have the proposals been approved yet? Yes, all of the all of the proposals have been approved. So that's why we're here, just to finish up the application process so you can get the applications into me before, hopefully, November 21st. Okay. Implementation, the how of it all. The plan of action is, how are you going to do it? You know, this is where you present the precise details of how you're going to achieve the success of your goal. How are you going to publicize your program? Construct all of these steps like an executive summary so that the council has a quick, precise read of your plan, and please make the details clear, easy to read, and specific. Speaking of, if you're going to add personnel or buy a particular piece of equipment, please absolutely include the job description for the personnel or the specs of the equipment. When I say the council wants details, they want all the details of every move you make. Specifically, here's the who, what, when, and why. Make sure you identify the activities planned and how they connect to your strategic plan and the identified need. So when the council reads your final evaluation, which by the way does go to IMLS, it proves that you have systematically met the targets that you've identified. That gives both the council and IMLS the confidence that your project management skills are strong and that awarding the funds for your project was well beyond worth it. This is also an IMLS strategy, as they use this as proof of success when they lobby to Congress for continued funding of this program. So just know what entities, state and federal, have a hand in deciding whether or not the LSTA Grants to States program is worthy of continued funding. And include a timeline, as we said in the previous webinar, to help you stay on target rather. Keep in mind that these projects are good for 1 year, so give yourself time enough to complete the project and get the final evaluation and all the other quarterly reports in on time. Publicity. How will your community know about your project? Newspaper, radio. PSAs on the radio are often free, so that's good news. Website, webcasts, social media. Um, as the graphic implies, blow your own horn and make sure that you acknowledge IMLS, as that is also a requirement. Like in the last two webinars and in this one, the very last slide says, these programs are brought to you by IMLS. So use their logo. And on our website, there's a section on publicity, so there's another toolkit you can use. Time for more questions. My chat box is lonely. Okay, let's keep moving. The budget. Indeed, do the math. Make sure that what you have on paper matches what the PDF application shows. The fillable PDF template will do the calculations, but again, I highly encourage you to do the math on paper first so that the application totals match what you have on your ledger. Use whole dollars. No cents, please. If it's $397.42, round it down to $397. So anything 50 cents and under, round down to the nearest whole dollar. Anything 51 cents or above, round it up to the next whole dollar. Okay. Next, you need the 10% match, whether it's in-kind, cash, or a mix. But you need to match 10% of the LSTA money you're requesting. Allowable costs. On the website, there's an allowable cost tip sheet section. The link's on the screen. Development LST_2017. Things like food and drink, cocktails and entertainment aren't allowable. So do read the tips that Sue Lynn has loaded on the website, and that'll make things much clearer. Budget categories. This section is designed for you to put in line items and amounts, and there's a narrative box in each section for salaries, travel, equipment over $5,000, property, consultant or contracted service fees, library materials. This is where you explain exactly why these are necessary for your project's completion. Okay. Any questions so far? We keep traveling on. Okay. LSTA doesn't cover food or entertainment costs. Fixed assets are not allowable. This money is not to be used for building, adding on to the actual structure. Again, round up or round down to the nearest whole dollar. And again, here's the website for the allowable tips sheet so you can see what's allowable and what will not be accepted. Hey, I think I have more question time than content, but are there any questions at this point? Okay, we're rocking. CIPA. Part of the grantee packet. CIPA is the children's, yes, I'm going to read this one because I want to make sure I get it right. The Children's Internet Protection Act went into effect in April of 2001 and is a requirement for public and school libraries if you're requesting LSTA money for any internet services. CIPA requires both an internet safety policy and technology which blocks or filters certain material from being accessed through the internet. It's called Keeping the Children Safe. The Supreme Court reinstated the internet filtering requirement for public libraries in June of 2003. Applications of CIPA. If you are a public library, a K through 12 school library, or part of a consortium that includes public and K through 12 schools or libraries, you have to fill in the CIPA form, and it again will be part of the grantee packet that's sent out with all the myriad of other forms that you're going to be receiving. Yep. And if you're requesting LSTA funds and you fall into those categories, then yes, you have to fill out the CIPA form. Okay. Parts of the application. The title. It's how the project will be known in perpetuity. The name, whatever you name this project, is what it's going to be until the end of time. But it has to convey the focus and intent. And I like the part, I stole this from Karen, but this slide is the not too cutesy part. Go easy on the alliteration, but be as concise as possible so that the title of your project is, gives counsel and gives the reader an idea of what the content is. These are examples of previous projects. The heart of the matter, improving health information access. There's an application coming in for collaboration from one of the universities and rural county libraries to provide evidence-based health care so that folks out in remote areas have access to the information, the healthcare information they need most. Building a community of emergent readers. Sounds like a literacy project to me. Serving seniors with special needs. That could be the example from last time about improving senior online internet literacy and the programs developed with that. Ready to read with books to go. Another literacy, lifelong literacy project title. Okay. The abstracts. Okay. Focus on the verbiage, and again, think of it as an executive summary, direct and to the point, that gives a big picture right up front, especially so counsel gets it right away. Keep in mind that it also needs to be of publishable quality. Talk again about evidence-based research, because not only will it become part of public record, but it's going to be copied and pasted into the IMLS review team's report, which is also one of the fun parts of my job, is creating the IMLS report on each of these projects. Okay, and any competitive grants over $50,000 will be documented in the IMLS State Program Report, the SPR, and FFATA, say FFATA, Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act. Okay. Don't exceed the space limit. This is a PDF, so the space is what it is. It's not a Word document where you can expand and be more wordy. Edit it, keep it clear and concise. That box is all the space there is. So make it fit, cover the key elements in order, and make it linear so it's easy to read and the timeline, the tracking is easy to follow. You might consider writing the abstract after you filled in the budgetary and technical parts of the application, so you have exactly the summary of what the need is for the target audience and the goals and objectives for producing a successful outcome. Okay, so here's a recap of what we're looking for in the evaluation. What's the need? You've checked your demographics, and so you've identified the need in your community. You've identified the target audience and the benefits to that audience. You're matching the goals and the objectives to the LSTA plan, strategic plan, and whatever your library strategic plan is. Implementation, the how of how you're going to make this work, the evaluation, and the line item budgets, what you're going to spend the money on, specifically stated. Let me slide down to the next one. Letters. Again, if you have letters of support from the community or are in a collaboration with a business or any other agency or entity, please include these with your application packet, as these reinforce the community commitment and support. Time for more questions. Okay, so everything's still clear to everyone? Okay. Reviewer-friendly grants. Actually, well, yeah, let's go this way. Readability. This is more about formatting than about content, because formatting, we all know the hypnosis of reading page upon page of nothing but solid, boring to look at text. And then we have to go back and reread it 3 or 4 times because it all looks the same. And we kind of slept through where the highlights and potential key points are. So break up the page. Use bullet points. Use short 20-word sentences. Um, when you look at it, we want it to help people's eyes catch what you want them to know. So, yeah, think about the way you want the page to look, and definitely use bullet points. Um, no italics. Yes, you can use different fonts to, break up the look of the page, but stay with whatever font you're going to use. You can change the size of the font, but if you're going to do it in Arial 12 for the summary, for the highlighted points, keep it in Arial. Okay. Clear writing techniques. Focus on concise sentences and linear strategies. If you're using acronyms like FAFATA, spell out the actual term as we did before, and then put the acronym in brackets so you can simply refer to the acronym as you move through the application. Remember that not all of the council are librarians, but they may well be from the literacy side of the House or the legislature. Some are state employees representing various departments, like corrections or the Department of Education. Some may also be governor appointees who may be business owners. So they don't all come from library land like we do. So write it so that it's clear to non-librarians. Proofread it. Use spell check or have someone read it for you. You're checking for typos. Does it flow and make sense to someone outside of library land? It's a reflection of how strongly you represent your idea to council, to the library administrator, and eventually to the state and federal government, i.e. IMLS. A well-rounded project will have a clearly defined need, preferably one manageable outcome, but 1 or 2 outcomes is fine. A well-developed action plan, actions related to the outcomes, and a means to determine success. So there's your checklist, again, that we spoke about in webinar 2, how to keep on track, how to be sure that you are moving in a linear timeline and that you're going to meet the deadlines. Because remember, again, you have a year, 1 year to do this. So don't wait till week 51 to start writing the evaluation. Um, if you want us to review the outputs and outcomes, even now ahead of your application submission. If you have something in mind, send it to me and my team, and we'll tell you if they make sense. Are your actions related to the expected outcome and goals? Okay. Grant writing. Play by the rules. Yeah. Read the instructions on the website and just be familiar and comfortable with how to fill out the application. So follow the guidelines, because these can also be audited. Council members have been known to do surprise site visits. So be sure you're sticking to the plan. Just know that they want to know that the money is being well spent and you're sticking to your checklist and your timelines. It's called stacking the deck in your favor. Okay, the grants are written to, again, address an important need that you've identified, be user-oriented, community-based, community-focused outcomes, persuasion, and convincing the reviewers to commit money to the project. The point that sticks out for me here are the persuasion and convincing elements or aspects. So you want that buy-in, you want to buy more PCs. Well, here's the impact that purchase will have on your targeted audience and how that purchase will meet the identified needs for those users. So you want buy-in from not only your users, but your partners to make this grant work. Submitting the grant. It's called sign the line. Oh, not move the line, just sign it. You, as the project manager, can't sign as the final authority. That's sort of a conflict of interest. But your library has a designated fiscal authority, and that's who signs the bottom line, so to speak. Okay. Okay. Getting it here, getting it to me. The generic NSLAPR LSTA email, long as it is, comes to me, Tammy Westergaard, our assistant administrator, and Sue Lynn Jones, our administrative assistant. In order to move forward, if there are questions, again, or if we need clarification as we review your submission, we'll get back to you. Okay. So once more, get the email to me by 5 p.m. November 21st. Get the hard copy at least postmarked by November 21st. And both of those documents are required, the e-submission and the hard copy. And remember, the hard copy needs to be signed in blue ink so that we can tell it's the original and not a photocopy. Okay. Once more about the timeline. Internal review of applications will begin on, well, the 12th. As soon as we get the emails, we can start looking through the information. We will have the reviews complete by November 28th. So we've got 2 days before Thanksgiving and the Monday after. We'll contact you with any needs for updates or revisions between the 28th, and we need the completed, updated, cleaned up application back by December 12th. Applications then will go to the council on December 21st, and then they'll have a month until the council meets on the 25th and the 26th, and we'll call you, if you're an invited guest or we have any questions, we'll call you to either come here to one of the buildings at the State Library, or we'll arrange for video or teleconference. So one day may be in person and the next day may be all video, but we're just here to work that out. Again, let's just contact info. Keep the write-up in simple language, on target and to the point. Just say what you need to say to get across to the review board, because they're the ones who advise Jeff, the library administrator, on what projects should move forward. Okay. And don't forget to send in the webinar certification that indicates you either tuned in here or review the slides on our website, nsla.nv.gov/development/LSTA 2017. Okay. So here's our team's contact information, the generic website at the bottom that comes to the three of us, and credit to the IMLS. This program has been brought to you by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. So be sure that in anything that you produce, this information is on there because IMLS requires that they be, acknowledged and given credit for the for giving you the money for the work that you're about to do. So, last call. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Or if you have questions later in the day or between now and submission time, you have my information, Tammy's contact information, Sulin's information, or you can send us just a general email to the team email site, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible with the right answer. Dana says, is the application the 11-page form that's on the website? Yes, it is. I'm working. Oh, yes. One of the things we discussed here was, were we going to put the application in the webinar? And it's 11 pages. No. And most of it is are the open boxes for specific descriptors and outcomes and summaries and stuff like that. So the certificate, and Natalie asks, what is the certification website again? It's on our, let's see, let me find a slide that has it. It's on the nsla.nv.gov website under 2017. There's a link to the certification, and just print it off, sign it. I even got one in today. Yay! That just says which webinars you attended and did you tune in or did you do the slideshow. But just make sure that you covered all three, because that's a requirement too. Oh, there's a question, but it came in as somebody was perhaps just leaning on their keyboard. Oh, Dana signs in that it's on this page. Yes, nsla.nv.gov/development/LSTA_2017. Okay? All right. Way to go, Dana. Thanks for the link, too. Okay. If there are no other questions or I don't have any audio comments, then let's wrap this up. We're going to adjourn the session at 2:37 on October 20th, 2016, and I look forward to getting your applications. Oh, Christina asked, do you need 3 separate certifications? No, just one form, because all 3 webinars are listed on that one sheet. And so just check off, and I think the dates are even on there, October 6th, 13th, and 20th. So you just check off the ones you attended and how you access the information. And mail them in, please, because, yeah, I need the original hard copies, signed in blue. Thanks, Amy. Okay, so we're going to adjourn the meeting, and I look forward to getting your emails and beginning the process so we can get your applications underway. Thanks, Forrest. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, everybody. Power down.